This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes, for your half-assed entertainment news with no bullshit, with our hosts, Summer Helene and Bear Fiorda, only on Talk 4 Media.
I'm texting.
Okay, good day, guys. I'm your host, Bear Fiorda, with my lovely co-host today, Summer Helene, who's working on some business stuff right now. I'm not too sure which one it is, but anyways, welcome. I hope everyone's doing well today. Summer, I almost immediately wanted to jump into that topic again about, I believe it was kind of letting your feelings overtake your sense of what real and what isn't is, because people tend to want to rationalize situations, not with facts, but with how they're feeling. Okay, so it's Prince Harry conversation. Prince Harry.
It's a Prince Harry conversation. So essentially, it's when people conflate how they feel with the reality of a situation and then react as if how they feel is the reality versus the reality being the reality. It's funny. I only see it for the most part in Americans. It's the most, and it's, so I have to assume Prince Harry got it from Skankface.
Well, yeah.
And the reason I say that is it's the most American thing that ever Americaned. And essentially it's these people having really big feelings like a 2-year-old and not knowing how to cope. And they're reacting to their feelings instead of acting about the situation. And the best way I heard it put, and I'm going to read it, is if you can't put into a clear message why someone's actions have upset you, then you are overreacting. If somebody did something wrong to you, something that's genuinely morally or socially wrong, or socially unacceptable, you can articulate it. You can say this behavior was inappropriate for this reason, not this behavior made me feel this way, but this behavior was inappropriate on these grounds. Thank you.
Personally, I've seen outrageous, over the top, and petty behavior across I think different cultures have it. I've seen TV shows, reality shows, and reality shows are kind of trumped up.
I just see it more in America, and I see Americans justify it. And the biggest thing is the feelings thing. I feel this way. This hurts my feelings. It's a safe space bullshit. Okay. And don't get me wrong. I'm left of Lenin, and I look at Americans now, and I'm like, you guys are weak. And it might be the Australian in me. We're insulting to everyone. But there's something gross about people being outside of reality. I think it's trashy. I think that's the best way to put it. It's trashy.
So it gives you
and it's dirty. It's more than that. I think people like that are bordering on mentally ill.
So anyone who's taking their feelings into account in a situation where it should only be dealt with facts is
it's
kind of venturing into the area of delusional.
It's self-centeredness. It's part of this social media culture. My feelings are so important, they should be treated as facts. How I feel about a situation is so important, it should be treated as reality. That level of narcissism has kind of bled into the culture.
No,
I find it sad. And I think that parents need to tell their kids, I'm so sick of hearing parents say, you are the most special thing that ever specialed. And don't get me wrong, to me, my child is the most special child that ever specialed. I think she is perfect in every way. She can do no wrong. I've had her since she was 5. She's the cutest child that ever existed in the history of children.
Yes.
But I'm the only person that's supposed to love her unconditionally. Something I try and stress is her partners are not going to love her unconditionally, and they shouldn't. She should not love her partner unconditionally.
Now, what would you say? I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second. People cannot help how they feel. How they react. How they react is different than what they feel. That is fair. But wouldn't you say, since they can't adjust their feelings, that is technically part of reality?
No,
they, in reality, feel that way.
That is a lack of emotional regulation. You teach a 2-year-old not to throw itself on the ground and have a tantrum.
Right.
What you are talking about is a lack of emotional regulation and logic.
No. Action's totally understandable. No one should be no adult, no child, no anyone should be throwing themselves on the carpet and throwing a tantrum.
And how they feel they need to deal with, and they need to focus on, and they need to figure out why this is bringing up big feelings in them.
Well, what if
that is their business?
Well, okay.
But their feelings should not be my problem. My feelings should not be their problem.
That's also true. Now, let's say this. Let's say I insulted somebody, right? I said something that to you was a grave offense.
Like what?
No, it doesn't matter. You're ugly. Like,
no, I'm not.
But that's my point. That's not necessarily for you, but for some other person that might be like, oh, the worst thing you could have said to me, and that is personal opinion too.
Then why
do they not have a right to be
that person?
But do they not have a right to be offended by that?
They can be offended.
Okay.
Why can't they be offended?
But
I'm talking about
what comes
treating
after the
action.
fact.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's treating your feelings as if they are real.
Like saying, okay, reality. I justified in hitting you because you called me ugly.
This is your fault. It's abuse. What people are doing is justifying abuse. I don't like I see it at work all the time with people I work with. And in my job, so for those that don't know, I work in media. We make television shows, we make radio shows, we make movies. I'm very, very good at my job. I'm also, if you get caught with a hooker, I'm who you call for spin.
Yeah, you try to make sure it turns
So I
nice.
have to fully live in reality every moment of every day, because I cannot hold I cannot direct public attention if I don't believe, or if I don't know what's going on, if I'm basing it on my belief. I work with plenty of people I don't like, but I'm getting to a point where I am really starting to feel sorry for Americans as a whole, because it's gotten to a point. I don't like working with a lot of Americans. I'm going to sound terrible now, because I find them lazy. I prefer working with people from Russia, Mexico, Peru. A lot of the people I work with are from outside the country for that reason. I find Americans have safe-spaced and entitled themselves into and social media themselves into a position where they think they are the center of attention. They are so fucking important. Every single time I go to an event, I end up with, is that something on my ceiling? I end up with this slew of people. I'm looking at my chandelier. It's driving me crazy.
Fine.
No, there's something out. I hit my head on the light. All right, I'll deal with it in a sec. Every time I go to an event, a slew of people try and convince me why they should be the star of a reality show. And now I have something in my eye. This is going really well.
It's okay.
Alexis, can I please have an eyelash brush? Every single one thinks they are the star of a reality show because they are so interesting. I should give them a reality show. They're not.
No, but now I want to double back for a second. You talked about, I think it's really important to address. Part of your job is making sure people, they do something negative or bad in the public light, they can turn that into a positive. But you would have to know and understand where people are coming from emotionally to do that.
No, you have to understand where they're coming from logically. So the thing is, anything can be justified or changed.
Yeah.
If you know logically. If you react emotionally to it, not everyone's going to feel the way you feel. But reality is reality. There is no objective reality. I mean, unless you're talking about us being a computer program, but that's a whole different thing.
That's a different objective reality.
But essentially, I've got my eye.
Well, I would think something universal, like if something came out that your client kicks puppies, that's a logical, like everyone's going to hate that. We have to go logic. Now, what if it's something like, okay, your client enjoys streaking around his house, you know?
So I'll use Armie Hammer as a example.
Okay.
The worst thing he did was have an affair. You guys can dislike the kind of sex he's into, but that's not your business. And if I was dealing with him, I would have gone directly back on the attack. These girls can say I assaulted them, but he has in writing these girls being consensual. I would have sued the girls directly for lying to me, putting me in this position, damaging my public image by saying they were okay with something they weren't, and then never discussing it with me, then going public with it. I'd have sued the shit out of them. Then I'd have turned on the public and said, look, you don't have to like what I'm sexually into, but every single person, you'll have your kink, you'll have what you're into. And do you really want your search history opened up to the public? This is a fantasy. I haven't done anything except harm my wife by cheating. So the only person I owe an apology to is my wife, because I was a douche and I cheated. And I wouldn't say this part, but like most of the men in Hollywood. The reality is people's puritanical values are the reason they were so pissed off at Armie Hammer. And
yeah, that's fair. That'll go into a feeling category too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I find what he did gross. But if you try and fix that from a feeling perspective, you're going to argue a person's feelings.
And you can't win that way.
Why the fuck are a person's feelings engaged? Let's talk about the reality of it. Do you want your porn history opened up to the whole world?
Nope. And
Why not?
No one does.
Why not?
Because I think there's a level of shame and embarrassment that goes along with it. And it's why I try and tell people like my story of being involved in pornography and getting hooked on it and why they need to get off it. For one, it's
by involved
mentally.
in pornography, he means watching it.
Yeah, watching it. It was never in a porno. But watching is
And
detrimental
porn
to your
too.
mindset. And then just having it and hiding it, it's basically an addiction. You are holding it away from the rest of the people in your lives. And it's only going to cause detriment to them. But no one wants that information released because there's that level of shame to it. It wouldn't be an addiction if there wasn't shame behind it.
And so the reality is for Armie Hammer, the way I would have handled that would have been to take it on directly and say, look, how would you feel? And explain that people are reacting off their feelings.
Do you think his wife was into the cannibalism?
No.
No? Okay.
They very publicly said she wasn't.
Got
and
it.
That's why part of the reason he went elsewhere. But the reality is everyone has those problems. Like I have an ongoing dialogue with Alexis, my assistant, for those that don't know. And she's super emotional, drives me up the wall. And the time off during the pandemic meant that she got out of the habit of dealing entirely logically.
How did that happen?
Because we weren't making films the way we were. So
do you think when people aren't in an environment where they have to be real all the time, they kind of fall back into their
pretty
own?
much they fall back into their own personal patterns.
Okay.
And so it becomes about how she wants to be perceived rather than how things actually are.
Okay.
And I'm going to spin back into Prince Harry, and that's Prince Harry. He is complaining about how the monarchy is treating him, but the reality is he's upset that he doesn't think they find him special enough.
Right.
And the worst thing Diana did was say that you and
Your
William are equal. You're fucking not. This is a monarchy. There is only one king.
There's only one king.
Now, eat your snails. So you guys know we are trying canned escargot. Alexis heated up and cooked it. That's what he's trying today. Is canned escargot. He's had the fresh, nice, good stuff. Did you just shove that in as quickly as you could to try and avoid eating it?
No, I specifically knew before it came to my table that I was going to take one, chomp into it, and just get all the nonsense out of the way, swallow it, and then talk about it.
Okay.
It is rubbery as sin. That is straight liquid leather. The garlic's nice.
Lex added that.
Lex,
So Lex
you're
added
wonderful.
garlic
That
and
was the most
butter.
pleasant thing about this. The only pleasant thing about this. The whole body is leather, which is nice. It's not like there's crunchy and then soft. It's all uniform. Like if you want to,
I kind of want to hide a bone in it. Like, just hear me out. If you fed someone escargot and you took
put a bone in
or
it.
a little crunchy cracker.
Do snails have bones?
No. That
I
would
didn't
be the
think
point.
so.
So you put a little cracker in, so someone
I'm gonna
bites
steal
it.
some of your
And
water
no,
now.
I don't want you drinking that.
May I please have your water?
No.
Don't make me beg.
Beg.
Okay, I'm gonna pinch you now.
So you better not get garlic on that.
Now that said, my first time having
That's tempting.
escargot, I wanted to gag. I didn't bother chewing it. I swallowed it whole. It was very gross to me.
It was delicious. The first time he had it, we had really good escargot, and he never tasted it because it was psychological.
And now that I told myself you're gonna chew it, you're gonna fight past the fear. It's still awful, but I know why
you
now.
punch people for money.
Well, either way, I'm gonna pass this on to. What is it? Double it and give it to the next guy.
Lex, Kimberly, would you like escargot?
They could partake in that one.
So, would we recommend canned escargot?
Why was this trending?
I don't know, but the thing is, why the fuck? Like, I'd like to remind everyone every time we use bad language, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and free MMA. We swear because we care.
Fuck yeah. And I don't just curse to support my
whose idea was canned escargot? This isn't like tuna, dude. This isn't everyday food. This is somebody when I'm going to be real schmancy so that I can make escargot for, a treat for my partner.
This is like if you don't know how to make escargot.
I like canned oysters. Yeah, but still, that was gross.
Yeah, it was not. It wasn't preferred, I'd say. But nonetheless,
Saying.
What?
I'm just saying.
What are you saying? Oh, canned escargot or canned oysters? Personally, I'm not. It's the sliminess. That wasn't slimy. I'm very surprised that wasn't slimy. It was just rubbery. Extremely rubbery. If I took a chunk out of my tire and compared it to that, the tire would just be a little bit harder.
Kimberly's eating it without being a baby about it.
She
likes escargot.
I think Kimberly likes escargot to the point that she can eat that.
I don't think she's going to eat this.
Like,
she's
what is it? I like.
She likes fresh escargot.
How do I say? I like steak. I love steak, actually. So if I have a really good steak, it's awesome. If I have a really bad steak, it's still like, it's steak. I could deal with that. I could have a bad one and be cool. So I think it just kind of depends on where I'm at with that, with the food already. Same thing with ice cream. I've had really, really great ice cream, like handmade. They're all kind of handmade, homemade. Then I've had some from like store, from Dryers. By the way, Dryers, good brand.
But this is all part of the same thing. Hear me out. It's that pretentious bull. She's spitting it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's bad enough. Huh? Kimberly loves
Never mind. I guess that doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
Salt water. Okay.
That happened to Teresa's crabs last night.
Oh, we went out with dinner with Louie and Teresa. Teresa is the star of what show?
Housewives of New Jersey.
Thank you. The
Real Housewives.
The Real Housewives. Yeah. Why don't you think it's the original Housewives?
Anyway, so we're out to dinner with them, and we went to a lovely place. I'm not going to say where, but they gave her.
I'm not going to tell you where.
That most everything was nice, but one of the things they did was they served crab legs on a bed of salt. So I don't know why they thought anyone could eat it. We had 2 people at our table order it: Yana, Bear's publicist, and my business partner, and Teresa, and nobody could eat it.
How do you think chefs feel about people's emotions? Because that's their food, that's their craft. They just put potentially hours worth into prep and then cook, and then someone send it back saying that it's to this, that, or the other. Now they're going to do it most likely, but how do you think they feel about the emotions?
Well, they have to learn to regulate. It's the same thing. It's what I'm talking about. America has lost its ability to regulate its emotions. It's why you have so many Karens. It's why you have so many people freaking out all the time. Nobody has turned around and been like, bitch, you are not special.
Right.
Everyone has to wait in line. Like,
do you think Karens are, I have 2 questions actually. Number one, do you think there's more or just more widely available because social media? More. Okay. So why do you think there's more?
Because so you heard the term, the customer is always right, correct? Yeah. Do you know what it means?
I can only take it at face value.
In matters of taste, the customer is always right. That is the whole saying.
Oh.
I'm looking over at the live stream.
That's cool.
Well. That is the whole saying. The customer is not always right. In matters of taste, the customer is always right. And it had to do with clothing and style.
Oh, not even food at that point. Mm-mm. Interesting.
It had to do with clothing and style.
So you can tell America took it too far.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
You could. I mean, but realistically, if someone has a problem with your food and it's realistic, send it back. Like, but it'd be reasonable. If someone ate the whole plate and it's like, give me my money back, I'd be like, and the whole.
Even if you hated it, shouldn't have eaten it. Your fault.
Pretty much. But the reality is, I don't know. People get a lot of things wrong. Like, blood is thicker than water, right?
Yeah.
The blood of the battlefields is thicker than the water of the womb. The family you make is more important than the family you are born into. The brotherhood you make is more important than the family you're born into. So it's these sayings that have been taken and bastardized, and people use them to justify horrendous behavior. In matters of taste, the customer is always right. That's a very reasonable thing. If you like the clothing, you're right. If you don't, you're wrong.
Question. Because now I'm thinking about something else that kind of pertains to this. I had an issue with Walmart recently regarding car tires where I had to reschedule due to a complication to get them put on. So they canceled every part of the installation and then refused to refund me in that time period. They had to extend it out for whatever BS, probably to make some kind of
No. Okay, so what that was? No.
But now I'm curious. Hold on. Let me finish. I called my mother to tell her about this because I wanted to vent. And she goes into, and I love her, she became a bit of a Karen where she's like, you need to be on top of them. You need to be calling them. You need to be calling corporate. You need to be making a fuss.
No, actually, your mom's right.
But that's my question is, at what point is it Karen?
That's
and at what point
Karen
is it, at what point is it like having a reasonable complaint?
Okay. You had a company try and charge you twice for installation.
Yes.
You had them refuse to give you your money. Like, I'm very familiar with the situation.
Okay.
You've had the same thing with the DMV trying to get your license.
Oh, DMV is another goddamn story.
The thing is, when you have companies charging you twice, my sister-in-law called me and sent me a picture because the IRS in the state of California doesn't have a copy of my brother's taxes.
Oh,
we know it was filed. It was done digitally. So I sent her another copy. But these aren't your mistakes. They're not her mistakes. When it is a company's mistake, that is very different than a matter of opinion or feeling.
What if you
we
get
are talking about facts. but your emotions should not affect your behavior.
Okay.
And if you need to walk away to take a beat, then walk away.
So you may be right, but you may not be able to handle it right then. All right.
That's exactly it. There is never an excuse to be an asshole to a minimum wage worker.
Yeah.
There's just not.
And plus, there's nothing they can do about it.
What are they going to do? Yeah. Do you think, Jody behind the counter at McDonald's gives a shit if you never return to McDonald's?
Do you think her and her $13 an hour paycheck
pretty
care
much
about
she's
you?
working a minimum wage job dealing with assholes like you all day.
Yeah.
She doesn't care if you come back. Treat people with dignity if you want to be treated with dignity. I'm just saying.
I love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the show the one, the only. I'm going to go into love and hip hop. I'm going to go into a bunch of things, but first I'm going to say welcome, Moniece.
Hi, am I here?
Yes, you are here.
How you doing?
Oh my goodness, I'm sweating. Pretty sure I'm perimenopausal. I don't know how to set up my own lighting. Summer, save me.
Oh no, you look fine. We can see all of you.
You look fantastic.
Okay,
now,
good, but I made it.
How old are you to be perimenopausal?
I'm 37.
No way.
You're not perimenopausal.
No one believed me, and then I went and had the tests because even my doctors were like, "Oh,
you're too young."
I don't think so. You're too young." And I was like, "Bro, my mom was full blown menopausal at 42."
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like,
so I'm going to tell everyone, excuse me to the audience, the live streams to the audience here. I'm going to go straight into women's menstruation. Something I ran into when I got to my 30s, I'm talking to my mom and she made a comment about women will go into menopause in their 30s. I'm freaking out. I go to the doctor and the doctor's like, when did you start your period? It's like, I was about 16. He's like, no, 30 years from there is when you go perimenopausal. So you would have had to start very young. For that,
I didn't.
You didn't.
My cycle didn't come on until I was almost 17. But I was a gymnast and had zero body fat. And that throws your estrogen off. So
did you get checked? Well, something I'd say is
thyroid
late. It can happen because you're underweight. It's why it happened to me, obviously. But not now. Not now. But did you ever get checked for PCOS?
PCOS, endometriosis, the thyroid, my iron levels, we did it all.
Because it's you're so young for that to be happening. I'm like, something has to be, even if it's hereditary, because it happened to your mom as well. That's so unusual. And because what comes with it is like loss of bone density, all these additional things.
So I broke a tooth chewing a piece of gum. Amen. Thank you. I'm sorry. I broke a tooth chewing a piece of gum 2 months ago because I had no bone density down there. It just crumbled. And I was like,
I'm sorry to hear that. Jesus.
That's all. Yeah, no, that is chemically dangerous.
Fighting. I would hate to just not have tooth for a minute.
Well, then don't be a woman and never go through menopause.
Yeah.
Duh.
All right, hold on. Before we get too far into this, Ms. Slaughter, would you please tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I am first and foremost and always a mom. That's like my greatest accomplishment. And my baby's so cute, even though he's not a baby anymore. So I'm really struggling with that. And most people, if they know me at all, would know me from Love and Hip Hop, or as I like to call it, Lies and Flip Flop. I did that. I was an OG that did it from seasons 1 to 6 when it ended and went off. Singer, songwriter, born into the industry. I call myself a little industry baby, but I wouldn't consider myself a Nepo baby. Okay. And now I am stepping behind the camera into show development, creating shows, executive producing shows. I'm trying to learn all of that stuff. I'm really passionate about it. And now I'm just on this mission to kind of restore morality and dignity and integrity to the reality television and docuseries space. That's like really important to me after my own personal experiences. So that's kind of where I'm at with it now.
I think that's fantastic. Now I want to go back a little bit. What got you into this industry to begin with?
Born into it. I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist as a gymnast. That was my goal. And then one day my dad, who sings in a group called Take Six, they're a 10-time Grammy Award winning group. He was producing an album for my older cousin. And he came to me and was like, I need somebody to do background vocals. Do you think you could hit this note? And I did. And he was like, well, that's surprising considering the fact that you're not a very good listener. And so he was like, you know, studio singing and live singing is different. I did it. It was easy. I loved it. And from there, the music side of my life, I just pivoted. And then life fell apart after I had my son and my record deal went bad.
I'm like texting him while this is going on. I was like, I'm telling him, I'm like, you have no idea how dark this is going to get. Stop asking these questions.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
This is like my preset questions for all our new guests when I first meet people. I like to find out about them.
You're in a timeout.
All right.
You're in a timeout.
Wait, let's go.
Trust me, guys, it is less depressing talking about her breaking a tooth with menopause than all the shit that has happened, or perimenopause, than all the shit that has happened to her in the industry. But that is going to be part of the show that you're doing. Now, you've worked with some really, really interesting people. You've come from a really interesting family.
Mm-hmm.
For you, with the shift in social media, with and the merger of the merger, the breeding between social media and reality. Yeah, they fucked. There's like a crossover between them now in a way they didn't used to be. And now all these social media stars are rising. They think they can be reality stars. Heads up, guys, they can't. They fucking suck, a lot of them.
I didn't say
it. Not you. You're fine. You punch
people. I don't even need a reality show.
I know. That's what I said. You punch people. It's fine. What do you think? Everyone now has their own channel, their own social media, their own space. What do you think culturally? I know this is a big, heavy question. Mm-hmm. What is culturally done to put a camera on everyone? Because you've lived your life in front of the camera. What do you think the effect of putting a camera on everyone's going to be?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say I'm in this new era of I'm trying not to be so politically correct because I want to be in this space or that space. So I have to watch what I say. I really don't give a shit anymore. So first and foremost, I'll say not everyone deserves a camera. Not everyone deserves a podcast mic. Not everyone deserves studio time. And I hate the fact that real life and social media fucked, and now everyone thinks that they're somebody, because they're not interesting. I think it has gravely detached the average, and to me, everyone is worth everything in the world. So I want to say that disclaimer. So when I say the average person, I simply mean the person that's not million plus followers and that the world doesn't know. So for the average person, I think it does two things. I think it fucks with their head because they look at what's in front of them and to them that's reality. And I think also fucks with their head because they feel like either why not me? Mm-hmm. When is it my turn? Or they feel like I'm never going to be able to get there. And I just want those people to understand that doesn't make you, and there's so much more to life. And then the other side of it is, I think that it does create opportunities. Unfortunately, I think it creates opportunities for the wrong people and for the wrong reasons because it's accidental. These aren't people who are passionate about music. These aren't people who have strong moral or political views or a positive message to send. This is somebody who got on the internet, fucked around, went viral, and they're like, quick coin. And now they're all over, right? But see, it goes hand in hand with the other side of that, which is the average person is the consumer. And they have an attention span shorter than an infant child. My son at 3 weeks could probably stare at a boppy hanging from the ceiling longer than these people can sit down and read a chapter in a book or anything. So everything is fleeting because there's so much access. Because now everyone's view of reality is skewed, it's warped, it's unrealistic. And then you have these doofuses that get it's a quick turnover.
Mhm.
And I think that is actually altering the way society works, parents, thinks, and even comprehends.
We do see that a lot where it's the short form platforms have kind of drawn away a certain level of attention span, because I think people want that immediate gratification, right? They want that.
I don't know. I checked out. We're having trouble on YouTube where we usually stream. So I'm like going back and forth. Everyone's like, why isn't the link showing? Bears fans are, we've got Ronald writing in here. He's like, hey, where the fuck are you guys? Like, he was very polite about it.
Well, let's try this.
But we've got it coming in on social media, so I'm dealing with this. I was ignoring you.
Well, here's a quick update.
Tara
question.
listening to.
Why do you think the new generation's attention span's kind of going down?
Because the parents are shitheads.
All right.
I don't think it has anything to do with social media. I can get on social media and also read a book. I think parents are lazy, entitled, and they will yell at a teacher for being wrong rather than think that their little darling could do anything wrong. People don't accept the fact that the only person that thinks your kid is perfect is you. The only person that's going to love your kid unconditionally is you. Their spouse shouldn't, their partner shouldn't, their friends shouldn't.
Have you
The reality is people have become entitled morons, and they are basing everything on how they feel, not what is. It's back to that reality. Everyone's turned themselves into Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
No,
They're playing that victim mentality, woe is me, blah, blah, blah complex. And I hate it.
That comes from there being this push of a life that just, you know what, I guess it's like I'm Hollywood royalty.
Mm-hmm.
The legitimate Hollywood royals, we are, I would say, let's compare us to the 1% earners of the world, right? Meaning we're actually legitimized in this space, whether we were born into it, whether we worked for it back before all of this shit existed and made it so easy for people. We actually worked. And so now underneath us is this thing. And so now it's this hierarchy, and it's been so watered down that now all of this stuff that people see, they don't understand why some of us are so grumpy. They say we're bitter. And I say that to say, I don't necessarily think, I think this new generation of parents sucks ass, for sure. But when you look at culturally and just where we are as a society, as a whole, the internet in any capacity will tell you, it's, you know, screen time isn't damaging. It'll tell you that, you know, giving your kid this to eat or that to eat isn't, you know, bad. Or they'll say it's a conspiracy that, you know, the foods have this, you know, these hormones in them. But some of us, the royals, we know what things used to be. We know how things used to be, even how we were parented. Even in the, like me being parented, failure was never going to be an option. And my parents knew that if I was not going to fail, I was going to have extreme discipline, but that meant they had to be disciplined. And I think that's where the breakdown in this new generation comes. And right there in the middle of that separation is this fucking thing called the internet.
I think
World Wide Web.
I look at it this way. When novels came out, there were newspaper articles saying that reading novels were going to destroy children's minds. They'd never be able to concentrate on storytelling. Then when movies came out, they said the same thing. Every time something new happens, people say that. But the reason it becomes a problem is a lack of regulation, not the product itself. And I don't see a problem with the kids. If the kids are a problem, it means we have a problem with the adults. I'm a millennial. I think the millennials are the problem with Generation Alpha. I think that the Gen X is a problem with Gen Z. I think that the baby boomers are the problems with the millennials. The reality is the way you raise your kids, it turns them into who they are. And right now we're saying there's a problem with the kids. There's a problem with parents giving kids unrestricted access to the internet. It's not the internet's fault. It's the parents' fault for giving the fucking internet to the kids.
Yeah, I think a certain level of like self-reflection needs to be had in that regard, and kind of understanding.
Yeah, like
if your kid's this way, what are you doing at home?
Of course, the internet's not good for the kids, and of course, there's shit in the food. Like I have lupus. It was the food. No joke. I ended up with lupus.
There's feces in our food, but
well, the what you got, like American cheese is not allowed to be sold anywhere else in the world because it's
30%
plastic.
It's
plastic.
Considered cheese product.
It's poison. I ended up with lupus, and once that switch is flipped and that's going on in your body, you can't turn it off because of the food in America. It was a chemical reaction within my body. I was so sick from the food, from what you guys put in the food. You guys are feeding your kids shit. Not you personally. I know you're different. Like, I know you're a good mom, but I mean,
I get it.
You guys feed your kids shit. You give them unrestricted access to the internet, and then you go, well, there's something wrong with the kids. I don't see it as a kid problem.
Why
I see it as a lazy.
I don't see it as a kid problem either. I think, my son loves to play outside to the point where I had to say, Cameron, it's 1 trillion degrees. Get in the pool, or let's go somewhere. And he's on the scooter. He's on the prime example. Him and his best friend. I call him my adopto son because they've been best friends since they were 2 and 3. My master balcony sliding door is open one morning, and I hear Cameron say to his best friend, brother, I'm dizzy. And before I could get up and make them come inside, and mind you, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. They had been up since 7 o'clock. They made themselves breakfast, and I heard my security system say front door open, and they were out the door. And I hear my son by 9 o'clock say he's dizzy because it's hot. He's on the scooter. They're back and forth between our house, Nick's house, up the hill, down the hill. I'm like, sit down in the air, drink some water, have some electrolytes, even get on your game. I literally say, why don't you play the PlayStation or something? I'm going to play basketball, Mom. That's just in the front yard. I don't have to go far for that. And that way, if I get dizzy, I'm like, bro, go swimming. So I'm blessed to have a kid that he has the balance of both. But he's also way more disciplined and self-driven than I was even as a kid.
No, it's incredible listening to you because I keep thinking back to like my childhood, probably your childhood. I think they forgot how to go outside and play with a stick, to be honest with you.
Hang on. I had a game. I love my Game Boy. I like my games. It's nothing like that. I had the internet. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I came from a country and a place where parents were like, get the fuck out. See you at night. Bye.
Go drink from the hose.
Yeah. I'm from Australia. They're like, don't get eaten by a crocodile.
I think hose water is it was a single best thing to drink as a child. Let's build up all that immunity to all those bacterias.
We used to drink from the hose at my Nana and Pop-Ups back in Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah, but
There you go. Wait, you're from where, you said?
My family's from Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, okay. So you grew up out there and you moved here?
No, I was born here. And when my dad signed his deal in 88, we moved to Nashville. And then we came back here when I was 6.
Well, what's your preference over more Midwest, East, or here?
To live, definitely here.
Okay.
But every time I go back home, I'm like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
It's so much slower. And I'm very family oriented and I have a huge family. So it's fun, relaxing. I catch up on my rest.
I still have like one.
That's reasonable. You still have an eyelash in your eye.
Yeah. I think that is a wonderful thing. I do not want to look like I have this one eyelash that's driving me crazy.
Is this
I feel like an asshole. I'm like, this is a serious
eyelash brushes on your bodies?
I do. I have extensions. And I only use the single lash extensions. I don't use the clumpies.
So and those have a tendency to go rogue sometimes, and they're really irritating.
Point back into the eyeball.
They do. Dude, you have no idea how bad.
You have to lift the lid, and then you have to take the spoolie, and then you have to separate, and then you have to keep lifting the lash. You have to make sure it fits back into its little cubby.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. You just called it a spoolie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that a name for these things, or is it called
No, that's what it's called. It's a spoolie.
Spoolie brush. She says spoolie all the time. I thought that was a her thing, honestly.
No, it's a spoolie. It's literally, that's the name of it.
No shit. All right. I learned something today. I learned about female anatomy and menopause, and I've learned about spoolies.
Spoolies. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'd like to remind everyone he gets punched for a living.
No, that can't be the reason why, but yes, that does happen.
She's basically saying somebody punches the common sense out of you.
Yeah, I know.
But we say back home, bless your heart.
Yeah.
I
like that
thank
one.
you.
We have a friend from Mississippi. He knows what that
I know what that one is.
She says it all the time.
No, someone at some point did punch the hearing out of my head. I'm partially deaf in both ears, but I know well enough to know that line.
Mercy. Partially deaf in both ears is nuts.
Oh my God. I think at this point I'm just getting raked in? I don't know what the phrase is.
Raked over the coals.
That one.
Have you had a stroke? We've had no sleep, so we got in last night. We got in pretty late this morning.
I've had as much of a stroke as both the presidential candidates had last night.
It is my fault you put 2 octogenarians up for office. You guys. I think America needs to return to England. You guys clearly cannot govern yourself. Shame on all of you.
Trump thought he was at like a roast of Joe Biden, and Biden didn't know where he was. That's my problem with what happened last night.
Again, you put 2 idiots up for election. I am not responsible for what you do with this country.
I know.
Yeah, I'm voting Trump. There, I said it. I can't deal. Biden is like, well, the economists have said we'll end up in a recession if he's reelected. We're in a recession, sir. What have you? You haven't done anything for people of color. You haven't, and I get it. Trump dumped the economy, flipped it on its head before you were elected. But let's not forget or negate or dismiss the fact.
Why do you guys only vote for 2? Like, I have to know this.
I don't know.
I find it so, like, you got 2 shitty choices. Isn't there like a third person? And I don't mean what's his fuck from Kennedy. He's a moron. But I mean, like, he is also, by the way, same category.
But he's better than those 2 so far. I'm just saying.
I don't know who made this rule. I just know who I'm voting for and why. Because
that's reasonable.
Not forget that the Democrats are the ones that shut down the economy during the pandemic.
Yeah, I just think
let's not forget that the Democrats.
I think we should just vote to return you to England. I don't think.
I don't care where we go, just as long as we go up, and I don't care who gets us there, as long as we get there.
Like, yeah, I think you need to join the Commonwealth, get rid of this whole president thing, get a prime minister back. Clearly, you guys can't govern yourself. We gave you a chance. You put 2 octogenarians in office
for our chance.
I'm going to run away. I'm going to run away.
We left you alone.
Wait, where you want to run away to?
I don't know. Somewhere, but
come to Australia.
Out of the fuck of here. This is crazy over here.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, return. That's my vote. Return the United States to England. You can clearly not govern yourselves.
Please.
Once you put 2 octogenarians up for office, I'd like to put up a reality star host of The Apprentice moron and a guy I think has dementia. Shame on all of you. Don't get to govern yourself.
He has dementia. That man. He must have said we're gonna 1,000,000 times, and I was like, "What?" When he walked, I don't know how out of all the quotes that I'm seeing on the internet today after watching that debate, I don't know how everyone missed when Biden walked out. He literally spoke gibberish to no one. I was like, "Who's he talking to?" He was like, "It's like, what did he say?" And I had to rewind it like a couple times to make sure I wasn't.
Think he might just be an alcoholic. I'm just saying. I'm sure.
I just think the man.
I mean, let him have, at his age, let him have a damn drink. All I ever expected from Biden, don't walk out on the front lawn without pants on. And all I want Trump to do is shut up. So between the pair of them, I think you guys need to be returned to England. You clearly can't govern yourselves. Once you have these 2, neither of them, once you have these 2 up for office, you have gone from the age of John F. Kennedy and Franklin Delano Roosevelt to Biden and Trump. America no longer gets to govern itself. It clearly can't behave.
But we all know that the president is just a figurehead for the people who work behind the scenes.
Thank you. That they tore me up on somebody's IG live last night for saying that. Because let's just face it, everyone's talking about Project 25, and it's terrible. Project 25 is horrible. I agree. However, are we forgetting that all the president has the power to do is say yes, no, and put officials in the Supreme Court, and they're the final say so, but kind of not really. States still have the ability to make certain decisions.
And I run yourselves like Europe. This country, so the UN predicts that in 100 years, the US will not exist.
That's great. I'll be dead.
I'll be gone. Not my problem.
For two reasons.
Matter anyway.
For two reasons.
Yeah, what's the two reasons?
You operate like Europe, not like a singular country, meaning your federal government does not necessarily control your states.
Yeah.
Where in Australia, our federal rule far outweighs, obviously, state rule.
Okay.
And two, you guys chose a system of government that already failed.
What do you mean?
You chose the Roman system of government, but the system of government that was in when Rome fell. And so essentially
200 years in.
Yes, and that was how long Rome lasted. So essentially y'all chose a form of government that had historically proven it doesn't work. But now that being said, I can complain all I want about American government. I choose to be here because America's a great place to make money.
There you go.
I'm an immigrant. I chose this place by choice. What is it? They say democracy is the worst form of government except for all of the others.
You're never going to get it perfect. Let's just go with what we got.
But I will say this. One thing America did definitely do right was create the film industry. The film industry has created more, hear me out, it has created more change than any other industry in the world.
That's fair.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. I mean, it gave all of us a way to prosper, right?
You punch people.
But what I do is still film. What I do is still entertainment. It's still shot, live stream, recorded, the whole night.
Fine. Okay, I'll give you that. But
true, he's got a point.
He does. And I'll say that actors and entertainers existed before film, but the close-up created the star. Once upon a time, you could have actors, but that close-up, the ability to
look them right in the eye.
It's what made you a star, Moniece. You have the ability to connect with an audience. You have the ability to pull people in. It's not, I mean, you're beautiful, obviously, that goes without saying, but it's not just about looks. You have the ability to connect with your audience, and a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's created it.
Yeah. I think it also keeps people employed.
Agree.
With the exception of the occasional strike here and there.
Still bitter, and still dealing with like Teamsters and IATSE, and still bitter. Still bitter.
You didn't use what they call those people who went against the strike but like to do work? Scabs. At least you didn't hire a scabs. That's what I'm saying. At least you didn't hire a scab.
I back my industry, and if I got caught using scabs, I get fired.
It's a fickle one. When you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're off. And when you're off, you don't know when you're going to get back on. So once you're on, it's like you better go for the gusto, my friend, because who knows what's going to happen after this.
Absolutely.
Who knows where you're going to go, where you'll end up, who will value you, who won't, who will actually help you get to the next, step. So you better make it.
I think so. But I think that's the opportunity you have here in this country, especially with
definitely
the ability to move up.
You guys turn everything into stars. Like we were talking about politics a second ago.
Yeah.
You treat your politicians like stars,
not
like public servants.
I admit
in
that.
my country, we treat them like public servants because that's what they are.
That's what they are.
But here, you guys treat them like stars. Like years ago, I remember this chick. We went to an event, and she freaked out to meet Joe Biden. I'm like, not Joe Biden, to meet Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
And I'm like, cool. Like, yeah, he's got some great stuff on healthcare, but chill, chick. Like,
it's just
breathe. He's not a celebrity. I think America has celebritized. Is that a word?
Sensationalized. They have
sensationalized. There you go. Has sensational, not just politics, everything.
But you know what
you have, and social media has done it.
There we go. Social media
This is the most famous dentist in the world. This is the most famous pimple popper in the world. Shout out to Dr. Pimple Popper.
This is the most famous politician in the world.
That's it.
Where it comes
That's
from.
it. It's that crossover, and that's so strange to me that you guys have sensationalized and celebritized everything.
Our
Terminator should
sound
run for
engineer just said
president.
that the Terminator should run for president.
He can't. He wasn't born in America. I like him too, though. Good dude. But except for the whole gropey thing. But essentially,
they can't forget about that.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Essentially.
Have I had a
Summer
stroke?
needs a nap.
Somebody didn't let me sleep all night because they snored from like 5 a.m. since we got home, or 4 a.m. since we got home.
Got home at 3:30, went to bed at 4, and I kept you awake the whole time.
Yeah, until about 7:30 when I woke you up to post.
Hey, you know what?
is what
I don't
it
have
is.
a response to that.
Anyway, but when you sensationalize everything has to be over the top. It means your politics have to be extreme right and extreme left. It means people have to be extreme right and extreme left. It means everything you do has to go to the extreme. I can't just have a hamburger. I have to have the world's biggest burger. I can't. It's taken it to the absurd. And so I love people, and I love what you're talking about, Moniece, is like just kind of talking about the reality of it,
but
and
bringing
showing
some
people
grace back to it.
bringing grace back to media, because my God.
It's over the top, all of it.
It's a shit show at all times. And I would like to think, because I'm a realist, I would like to think that, one, I understand that this is going to be a lifelong work at the level that I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to look ahead and really understand that the world is going to keep changing. And I would pray that it would change for the better. But in the event that it doesn't, when you talk about cinema and actors and film and things like that, people, would go to plays, and you had the opera, and you had films that were, they were acted out, and people showed up to the theater. And it was a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I don't know if we'll ever end up there again, but if we do, I want to be one of the ones who kind of blazed the trail back that way, and really thought about the fact that if this all God forbid we end up in a World War III, right? And we don't have movie theaters to go to, and we're trying to rebuild our cities, our states, our morale. What would we have, right? What do you have at that point? Now we're at ground zero. The playing field has been leveled. Everyone is equally yoked.
Yeah.
And the ones that are going to make it are the ones with any type of trade or skill set.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if this is going to be my trade or skill set, I also have amazing leadership qualities. I know that about myself. Hey guys, let's put on a show. Let's boost everybody. Like, if we ever got to that point, I know I could do that, right? But leading up to it, what I know I want to leave behind is, she made a lot of noise when everybody said it wouldn't work, when she couldn't do it, when she was up against the fucking odds of ratchetivities and bullshit and just ghetto fucking, I don't even know what to call it. Tomfoolery, coonery, fuckery, coonery. I don't know what you call it. It's just stupid. And I hate it all. And so I'm just like, I'm going to make this difference. And that's what I am hoping I can do. And I know it's going to take a long time for people to catch on, but
I don't think it'll take as long as you think. I think you're entertaining.
And I know we're at the legacy to try and that you want to leave behind as well. I think that's awesome.
I think you can do it. I think because you've seen both sides of it, you've grown up in entertainment, you have a different view than anyone else does. Like, I know we're doing a show, Queen of Temecula, we're looking at Hallmark, we've been talking a lifetime, but they want wholesome entertainment, and wholesome entertainment matters. And I think you coming in, moving into wholesome entertainment will make a hell of a difference. Quick shout out, by the way, Tiny Bubbles Hair Salon in Palm Springs, California, off-road rentals. Go to Moniece's social media. Tell me what your favorite moment of her was, and the first person to do that gets a ride at off-road rentals in Palm Springs, California. TM me for free shit, because I like to do giveaways, but you've got to be following her, and you've got to tell me what your favorite moment is with her, and tell me what you think about the direction she is moving in with media now. I also want to give a shout out to Bombshell Tans. Thank you for your red light treatment. And Renaissance MD, thank you for making me pretty when my face is fucked up.
Another show you're putting together, actually.
I know, that is another show. And again, wholesome. That's about helping people.
Excellent.
So Moniece, thank you so much for being on the show. We are and he is telling us we got to wrap it up. I'd love to have you on again. We didn't get to any of the questions from the audience. We had trouble streaming the first half of the show, so we'll be rerun. So we'll have that pissed off. So we're gonna have a very pissed off audience, but I'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, I'm anytime. Let me know. This is a tough week, momming and like running around, but anytime. Thank you guys, and I'm glad I could have answered your questions.
There will be plenty more from people who
will.
have a very vested interest in you. We will absolutely make sure we get the questions across from your fans.
Mm-hmm. And we've got the writing email. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Behind the Scenes. I'm Summer Helene. We're on with my co-host, Bear Fiorda. Next week, we'll be chatting with Teresa and Louie from Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Oh, we got a preview for once.
We do. And I'm going to drag Moniece on again. Don't tell her. She doesn't know yet.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on Behind the Scenes. I'm Summer Helene. We'll see you next week. Good night.
This has been Behind the Scenes with Summer Helene and Bear Fiorda. Only on Talk 4 Media.